Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. My name is Christy, spelled with an E, and my trusty sidekick Lucky is here as always, wanting to be in the know of what's going on. He's always got to be on my lap or in my face whenever I am doing anything. But we love him. He's cute, so he gets away with it. His sister Freya, she's asleep on the couch, not caring at all what is going on in here. So why am I inside today? I'm normally outside playing in the creek. Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, I am rendering beef fat or suet into tallow in my oven, and I don't like to go outside for any period of time when I have my oven on. Just as a safety issue, I've got my two babies in the house, and I don't know what might happen with an oven on while I'm gone. So I like to keep my eye on it, so that's a safety issue for me. The second reason is I would like to show you some of my rocks. A couple of you have asked, do I display my rocks? What do I do with my rocks? I have rocks all over the place. I have rocks in Kentucky still. Those are my West Virginia and big Michigan rocks. I did bring one big Michigan rock with me, but I'll show you him later. I've got boxes of rocks. You might be able to see, I've got containers of rocks. I have this beautiful cobalt mid-century modern ashtray that I got in an antique store with Michigan rocks in it. I do remember mostly where my rocks come from, where I've picked them up. I like to gather rocks from the different places I've lived. So Michigan, Pennsylvania, there goes my tongue again, can't keep up with my brain. So Michigan, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, North and South Carolina. These are some of my Michigan rocks. I have rocks on my vanity. I have rocks on the floor. I have rocks all over the place. So let me show you my rocks. First of all, I would like to show you some of my little rocks. When I went to the mine, we got sand and went through it looking for gold and gems. And the little rocks left over, I kept those. I separated them. It was a long process. You may have seen that in one of my previous videos. But I have them in categories. So these are the extra tiny ones. I've got pretty quartz and everything else. And I'm thinking of doing maybe an art project with them. And I have the same thing with the slightly larger rocks, and also because nothing else would fit in those jars. So I've got pretty quartz and everything else over here. And the everything else rocks may end up being the bottom layer of an aquarium eventually. That is one idea. But I would like to do some kind of artsy fartsy thing with them. I don't know, maybe like a mosaic. I'm not really sure. But when I decide what I want to do, I will have them ready to go. Now, I will show you my vanity rocks. I have some of my favorite quartz. This one is really cool. It's got some crystals in there. I've got my bowl of Michigan rocks and some other lovely pieces of quartz over here. And now, if Lucky will allow me, I will open my box here and show you some of my special rocks I keep in here. Yes, Lucky, that is a rock. Just really, really pretty ones that I wanted to put in a special place. And that is why they are in this box. They're just some cool little pieces that I found. Not sure what they all are. Now this one is a Michigan rock, a piece of granite that is in there. So I know that because it is so smooth. Some little smoky quartz there. But those are the rocks that I keep in my box. And then moving over here, these are my Michigan rocks. This is a nice piece of jasper. Lucky, you don't need to mess with my camera, please. almost a wishing rock. Well, I guess you could say it is a wishing rock. That white stripe goes all the way around. This is my favorite Michigan rock. This one I call my whale rock. Can you guess why? It's really cool. Again, very smooth. The rocks that I found at Lake Superior are all very smooth. This one I believe is a bit of bumblebee jasper. I'm not sure what all of them are, but that's okay. They're pretty. I do have the State Rock of Michigan. This is a Petoskey stone. One of my other favorites. And just some odd ones that I have found here and there. And speaking of Michigan rocks, over here I have a rock from Michigan. I call it my pudding stone. I'm not sure if there's another name for it or not. Lucky, your head doesn't need to be right there right now. I've got a deer antler here with it. But you can see some of the stripes on it in this pink. It's really quite pretty. There, that is my other Michigan rock. It used to be the biggest in my collection until recently. And that's because I brought this guy home from the creek. And then, thank you, Lucky. Lovely tail you have. And then he was my biggest rock in my collection until I went to the mine and found Draco. Now let me show you Draco and you'll see why I named him so. That is Draco. And Lucky's hindquarters. But as you can see, he looks like a dragon. He has the head of a dragon. Look, you're just going around in circles. But you see there's the eye here and the nose here. So I say that he is a dragon that looked at Medusa and was turned into stone. And these are some more of my floor rocks. Again, mostly quartz. But I just have them on the floor at the moment, and Lucky. These are all full of rocks that I don't have room to display at the moment, but I do go and cycle through them so that I can have different rocks out at different times, because all of my rocks are special to me, but I just don't have the room to have them all out at the moment. I also have rocks under my vanity in a nice pretty bowl. Those are some of my larger small rocks. I have even more boxes of rocks. In these two boxes I have my building rocks, which is what my rocks from West Virginia are mainly for. These are the rocks that I want to add into a fireplace eventually. So I've got some really pretty rocks that I would put into concrete around my fireplace. They're just some pretty rocks. I've got some larger pieces of quartz in here. I don't know if I can get down to the very bottom in here, but I have some that are bedrock. But just nice. I like the green stripe on this one. But just rocks that I would want to put into my home as building materials. Not the home that I have now because I am renting, but eventually when I have an actual home that I am building, that might be a nice corner piece. But there, you never know, what or how I will add these in, but that's what these are intended for. And all of these rocks here are the ones that I want to eventually tumble. So I've got all my quartz in here, mostly quartz, that I would want to tumble. Some of them are a little bit larger. This one I think would be gorgeous with the smoky quartz in there. So I do have some that are a little larger, which would need a larger tumbler. And then I've got just small bits that I think would be very pretty once they were tumbled. So that is the rocks in this room. But like I said, I have rocks all over the place. So let's go see where else I put my rocks. I keep more rocks on my coffee table. Now this one isn't necessarily rocks. This may be hard to see, but that is the gold that was collected. Let's see if I can see in there. Ooh, little tiny bits of gold. But that's what's in there. I have this beautiful bit of quartz. And these are all like fancy rocks. So I have Dalmatian jasper and tree agate and a bunch of other ones. I believe this is obsidian. But these are all like the cool rocks. And I have more rocks in here. Little bits of pretty things. You know, some nice clear quartz. And that's where I have my emerald and my ruby in there. Just along with some other ones, some smoky quartz bits. In here I have a lot of regular quartz, I guess. Some of it is clear, some of it is not quite as clear. And I have a few that have bits of rock on the outside and quartz on the inside. And I think those are really cool. I have a few like that. I have teeny tiny cool rocks in there. You can see some of the Dalmatian jasper and things in there. In here I've got more of the clear quartz. I'll dump this out here. I also have some amethyst in here, some rose quartz. So that's mainly clear and amethyst and maybe some other little colors of quartz. But those stay in there. I'll pick those up a little bit later. Candle jar, not rocks. More rocks over here. Slightly larger, pretty rocks. And in this one I have my North Carolina pudding stones, along with some of the ceramics I found in the creek, and my collection of ball bearings. Yes, and a little bit of glass that I found in the creek that was pretty. I also have that bone that I found down by the creek over there as well. But that's not all. Let's keep going. In my bedroom, I have this beautiful little glass container, and this has all of my diamond rocks. I believe I have 10 of them or so now. So all of my diamond shaped rocks that I found, and all of them were found here, even this itty bitty tiny one. And then I have my wishing rocks over here, so all the ones that have that white stripe through them. And I could put that other rock in here as well. This one doesn't have a white stripe, but the green stripe is, I mean, that's pretty cool. So that's why, if I can get it to focus, it does not want to focus. So I keep those rocks by my bed along with my, you know, jewelry boxes and things, and of course the Lucky. Hi Lucky, what you doing? I also have this amazing TARDIS that my friend made for me. Ben made this for me, and it glows blue in the dark. It's a little box to put things in. I don't have anything in it at the moment, but I had to show you that as well because it's just cool. This is one of my Kentucky rocks. I call this my alligator rock. If you can't tell, the eye and the snout there. But this I found in the creek in Kentucky. So now you know what I do with some of my rocks, how I display the ones that I have displayed at the moment, and some of my plans for what I want to do with other rocks in the future. Yes, Lucky, I love you too. Do not bite me. Why must you always bite me? You're so weird. I don't know where he learns that from. But anyways, if you've watched this entire video, give yourself a round of applause. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it with me and Lucky. I really do appreciate it. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. And I will catch you all later. Mwah. Toodles. What, I can't wave? I have to pet you instead?